Yes, people, and welcome back to Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube. And the clips from this episode will be on the TikTok and Instagram. Now, where do we start? I feel like we have to start with the return of. How do we describe Francis? Obviously, he's not in the UFC anymore, but he never lost his belt,
He's a
and he was
lineal
back.
heavyweight champion. That's what Ariel was calling him.
And he was back in the octagon this time. We've seen him a couple times in a boxing ring. Last time out, he got knocked out pretty badly by Anthony Joshua. But he was back in the octagon at the PFL, and you know he had such tragedy happen to him with the loss of his son. And I mean, he put on a masterful performance. First round TKO, vicious ground and pound. I feel like if
Mm,
there's anyone on the planet you don't want to hold ground and pound from, it's probably
no.
Francis Ngannou. And
Yeah.
he just put him to bed straight away.
It was shades of the Suragan performance. If you remember when Ngannou fought Suragan, except this was more ferocious, and it just shows the difference in level and quality. I mean, I thought it would be a back and forth scrap. I thought it'd be a bit of a war, but Francis had an excellent game plan. His coaches understood this guy is a good striker, but maybe not as good a grappler. And Francis isn't even the best grappler in MMA, but Francis just take him down, hold him down. You know, he did threaten with triangle, but Francis defended very well and then just battered him. The moment he landed those ground and pound strikes, he didn't want to be in there, and yeah, it
He
was
couldn't
it
get
was
out of
smooth.
the way of he couldn't get out of the way of any of those strikes. Like once one landed, it was kind of like and it's like almost a common theme because we saw it with the Moicano BSD, and it's like it almost feels like ground and pound is coming back. Like people, a lot of time when people are on the ground and stuff, it's all about control. It's like to tick the time, so that you're winning the round because you're on top, for example. But like land some bangs, land some punches because it doesn't take a lot of ground and pound, serious ground and pound for you to either cause a cut or even concuss your opponent. So, Ngannou, he got that one takedown, he got it nicely, and then just found the right position for him to start landing bangs, and that's all she wrote. And it was I feel like it was a nice moment for him to get that sort of win. Um, and you could see he was visibly emotional, very understandable. But now it's a question of like who in the PFL could he fight? What's next for him? When you watch the tail of the tape, he's 38.
There's nothing in the PFL for him. He may go back to boxing. There's rumors of him fighting Deontay Wilder if Wilder wants to scrap, which would be a fun fight. You know, Wilder, of course, he's a bit washed up, but he's still got years of boxing ability and years of boxing experience over Francis. They may do a crossover fight with the UFC, which I doubt. You know, Dana White doesn't really like working with all the other organizations. But yeah, I don't think there's much competition for him in the PFL. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. He wasn't really keen on fighting again as well. If you listen to his post-fight interview, he was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. You know what I mean? So he literally took this fight just to, I don't know, kind of get over the sad situation of his late son.
Mm.
We may not see him fight again. Like you mentioned, he is 38 years old. He's getting on a bit in age. For a heavyweight, that is still a good age, but still, he is pushing towards the
Yeah,
end of
he
his
did.
career, I'd say.
It seemed like what's really next for him, but he was like in camp, like I had that hunger, which helped me get through this fight. So if I still have somewhat of that hunger, but where do you get that hunger from? Fighting opponents that maybe you're like, if you feel like you're fighting unknown people, and people that you feel you can beat, that hunger's not really going to be there. And like in the PFL, there's not a massive pool of real scary
Yeah, I mean,
talent.
what's his PFL contract? If it's what, a few years, then he's pretty much locked in that contract. If it was a short contract and he can become a free agent soon, I mean, listen, Dana and Francis, it's not like they've been abusing each other. Do you know what I mean? I reckon if they have a sit down, they could bring it back to the UFC because listen, the heavyweight division is looking good. If Francis can come back, you've got Francis, you've got John Jones, you've got Aspinall.
Mm.
Imagine those three at the top of the heavyweight division. Of course, Aspinall's next for the belt, but the winner of Jones Aspinall, Francis
I'm
can get in there. Hopefully,
skeptical. I'm skeptical. Dana, and
We know what Dana's like. Yeah.
he's too stubborn, and I feel like that chapter's kind of closed. Which, you know, you even got John Jones writing a tweet congratulating Francis and whatnot, and that was a fight that we all sort of thought we were gonna get.
Mm.
And now it's the Aspinall John Jones fight that we all want, but we might not get. So it's like, I don't know. We just need to get through the Stipe. We just need to get through the Stipe John Jones fight, and then go from there. Honestly, because we just need at least John Jones back in the octagon. You know, Miocic is kind of like, it's known. Like whether he wins or loses, he's out. Like this is just the last fight, and that's that. But Jones, could he be enticed with a Aspinall fight? Could there be negotiations possibly for Francis fight? I don't see it, but you never know. So, congratulations to Francis. We had another UFC event happening last night as well. It was one of those Apex ones. It
Mm.
was Fluffy Hernandez getting a solid win. I watched it. I turned it straight on after the Ngannou fight was finished, and he beat Pereira.
Late. It was a
And
late stoppage, wasn't it?
yeah, and he just drowned him, man. And Fluffy Hernandez is good. He's real
Mm.
good, you know. He's not a joke, and he's climbing up the ranks. He said, "I'm on route for a title shot and a couple more wins." You know, you never know. That division is hot right now. It's hot right now, and that was his first main event, and that's always important on your road to the title. What do you do in your first main event? Because with people like MMA fans, we're all locked in. Like we once your main event, even for Apex, okay, cool. Well, you've got a bit of clout, you've got a bit of motion, so people are going to be tapped in. And what do? You get a finish in the later rounds as well. And Pereira, I mean, Pereira's not a joke either. You know, he's explosive. He's got a lot, but he seemed like he was tired, man. He got tired,
Yeah.
and that's
He's
the
he's he's had he's had a bit of a weird UFC career, you know, the way he came in, all
mm,
exciting, you know, all those acrobatics. I've always said I don't really see the point in doing backflips when someone's, you know what I mean, on the ground. What are you trying to do? Kick them into mount? Doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I don't know. He's a bit of a weird one, you know, but he's exciting. People would love to watch him, but I don't think
yeah,
he'll ever be that guy, top
yeah. That
15. Do you know what I mean?
style. I mean, it's difficult to.
It's freestyling. It's not even like he's trying to outskill you. He's just trying to wow the crowd in it. The casuals love it, but when
Mm,
you actually watch it, he's not even got amazing technique. If that
mm.
makes sense. It's just
He's been in the UFC for
he's
time.
athletic.
He's been
Yeah,
in
he's
the.
athletic. He's fun to watch. You know, he's probably the UFC. Listen, if they've got a guy that will accept any contract,
Mm,
anything they pay him, and he
mm,
shows up, they'll love him. You know, it's just the guys that are kind of lower ranked who will ask for more money. But then it's like, yeah,
yeah,
look, you can get out of it. You know,
but
it's like look, you see guys like I think he fought on the card as well. Darren Elkins. He's
oh,
been UFC how long? That guy's been UFC for
bro,
what? Like 20 years.
that fight with Pineda retired straight after, but that was a dog fight. That was.
He's a zombie.
I've seen Darren Elkins have some mad scraps, like life changing fights. Like
Yeah.
even when he talks, yeah, you're kind of like you're on the verge of serious CTE. Like he just holds
He
it.
probably already has it, but
Yeah,
he's just
he already has
fighting
it.
through it.
Yeah, he's just firming it. But this
There,
time
there was
This time
yeah,
tomorrow will officially be in UFC 308 fight week.
proximity, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy
Probably
week.
the most anticipated card for me. Uh,
100%.
Hamzat is still scheduled to fight, and we
Yeah,
basically
he hasn't pulled out yet. I mean, there's still he can pull out during fight week, but we haven't heard any rumors. He looks in good shape. He looks in good spirits. And speaking on Hamzat and Robert Whitaker, I've been looking at a lot of the footage coming out from Hamzat's camp.
mm,
He is taking a wrestling heavy approach. Apparently, he brought in an Olympic trainer, the guy
yeah,
that trained one of the best wrestlers to ever come out of Russia, which I should remember his name. But that
mm.
guy is an elite coach, and apparently he's been with Hamza all camp. So
And
Hamza coming into the fight is a 3 round fight. I
yeah,
just think he wants to ragdoll Whitaker. And listen, I believe he can take Whitaker down. If he can take Kamaru Usman down, he can take Whitaker down. But can he hold him down? Can he
what
hold him down and nick rounds? Because it's a 3 round fight. It's a 3 round fight. So we know Whitaker has crazy. It's a 3 round fight, isn't it? It's not a 5
no,
round
because
fight.
I'm reading this a 5 round.
The UFC do these 5 round, 3 rounds, and they don't
Okay,
make it
look,
clear.
this is why I'm saying this, yeah? Because Whitaker came out because you're saying this. He said, I'm going to go in there and hunt Hamzat down. I'm going to take the fight to him. I don't think he'll be able to stand up to that. I don't think my wrestling defense and the caliber of my striking um, is going to give him an easy night. I can also fight from the first second to the 25th minute. I hope he's ready because I am. That's what Whitaker said. So is this
Oh,
fight?
okay. So it's a 5 round.
Well, I'm assuming it is.
I mean, if he says 25 minutes, then I mean that is very good for Whitaker because Hamzat coming off these sicknesses, he's been hospitalized how many times?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by his conditioning. And
I mean, it favors Whitaker a 5 round, 100%.
100%. But if Hamza can take that wrestling heavy approach, which I think he has to, then he can nick those early rounds. And if he can just survive the late outburst from Whitaker, then he should be sweet. He should be sweet because I really want to see Hamza compete at the top of the division. He's got all the talent in the world. It's just it's been stop start because of injuries, because of the fact that he's been
Yeah, it's
hospitalized.
5 rounds.
No, it's 5 round fight. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with the UFC. They do these co-mains, and
Well,
sometimes it's three, sometimes it's five.
it was meant to be a main event in Saudi Arabia, wasn't it? And then he
Yeah,
had
and
to
then
pull
he
out.
pulled out, yeah.
So it's
But
like
that's an amazing fight.
because it's on a pay-per-view, you're making it doesn't make no
Mm.
sense. And plus that's a 5 round fight. We got questions about Hamzat's cardio against someone as good as Whitaker.
Former
I don't
champion.
want to see three
Exactly.
rounds. I want to
Mm.
see 5 rounds. Now, yeah, so that fight still seems like it's on go, and hopefully it stays like that. Hamzat doesn't do anything like because you don't know in fight week he might fucking go for a crazy takedown and just get injured or something like that. So
Mm.
wrap him in cotton wool because this fight, honestly, this is a career defining fight for Hamza. Like really career defining because if he wins and he wins convincingly, everyone's like, yeah, that's the Hamza. That's the guy. That's the guy that we saw on Fight Island that we knew he was going to be a champion and it was only a matter of time. Or it can go the other way and it can be like, yeah, man, Hamzat's not the same. All these breaks, all these injuries, all these illnesses is taking its toll. He came up against Whitaker. He'll never be elite. He'll be one of those guys.
You'll see the fraud checks come out, all the people saying he's a fraud, all of that rubbish. So
Yeah.
you're right. This is the biggest fight of his career. It's also a big fight for Whitaker. If Whitaker wants to get back in the mix to fight for
Mm.
the belt, he's coming off a good win. If Whitaker can just get one or two more wins, maybe even a win over Chimaev could get him the title shot. So it's a
If he wins
yeah,
convincingly, he doesn't need to fight again.
exactly. So
Uh,
it's a big fight for Whitaker, but I think it's a bigger fight for Chimaev. You look at
mm,
Chimaev on the rise. This is the fight. This is the make or break. This is, are you who you say you are? So we'll
mm.
see. We'll see what he's all about. And I'm leaning towards a Chimaev win. I can't lie. I'm more Chimaev. I
See,
reckon.
I'm leaning towards a Whitaker win, but
The fact that it's 5 rounds. The fact that it's 5 rounds makes it,
but
dangerous for Chimaev.
we'll get into like official because we're gonna have to give the official predictions.
Of course, of
We're
course.
kind of being shaky, but do you know what? I know this sounds crazy, yeah, but I'm locked in, and I think Topuria gets it done. I think
Topuria.
Topuria beats Max Holloway.
You know what? You know what? I've been saying Holloway wins. I'm still gonna stick by it, but I think the first time ever we've seen Holloway rattled. If you look at those, they did a
Interview.
little interview recently with ESPN, a little back and forth, and Taporia was absolutely cooking him, and you could see Holloway was getting frustrated. He was
Fuming. We'll say
angry.
26.
I've
We'll
never
see.
seen Holloway. Yeah, I've never seen Holloway this angry. I've never seen Holloway this angry. He was talking about how when he knocked out Gaethje, that wasn't the highlight of his night. The highlight was seeing Taporia's face,
Mm,
his reaction. Like Holloway is really rattled. What if he fights emotional? What if he abandons
well,
his
well,
because Holloway is a skillful fighter. He's a guy that likes to, chip away at his opponent, doesn't really load up too much. What if he
mm.
loads up? What if he does that point to the mat thing in the
But
first round?
if he points down,
He
I'm
would
gonna
only
point down in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, but Holloway never does it in the first round. But what if Topuria gets in Holloway's head and Holloway doesn't do it in the first round and gets knocked out?
I don't know, man. It's one of them. Yeah, you're talking about the interview and stuff. And first of all, Ilya Taporia, he's bruh, his confidence is like McGregor level,
Shades
prime
of
McGregor,
Conor in it, prime McGregor, yeah.
but he is so so good, bro.
Yeah, no, he's.
Like,
I rewatched one of his fights the other day just to, because obviously everyone's seen his Volk knockout, but I wanted to watch a fight where it was a bit more of a longer fight, and it was that Josh Emmett fight, and he battered him, and he was literally walking into the right. He didn't care about Emmett's power. Everyone that fights Emmett, they
mm,
circle away from his right hand. They know if that right hand lands, it's a wrap. This guy was trying to get him to first so he could counter him mid strike. He doesn't care about your power.
and if it weren't for Emmett being one of the toughest human beings we've ever seen,
Yeah,
like he lost years of his life in that 25 minutes.
yeah, he
Topuria
battered him,
battered him, yeah,
battered him.
and like, bro, it's like Topuria is just talking. He's talking mad though. He's like, he's talking about Islam. He's talking about he would
Yeah,
beat Bilal.
you know what? You know what? If he beats Holloway, yeah, and obviously you've got Lopez, you've got Mofsar, you've got a few other contenders. I say defend the belt maybe one or twice, once or twice more. That Makachev Topuria fight is looking tasty, especially if Makachev is still the champion.
Bro,
Because
that's
Topuria has that grappling as well. People forget he's not a
I
scrub
think
on the mats.
I'm not even gonna lie, yeah. I think
It's just a
it
size
would
thing
be
with the lightweight where it would be a question mark.
it would be an easier route for him or victory to strike and then get a solid takedown and use his jiu-jitsu against Max Holloway. I honestly feel like he's people are forgetting that he is serious on the ground.
Yeah, no, he's good. But with I just think Holloway's takedown defense is insane. Like it's so hard to hold him down. You could say
But
he's
I'm
never
saying
fought
if
a grappler of Topuria's level, but Holloway is a monster getting back up.
yeah, but I feel like especially if Topuria manages to hurt him, he
Mm.
shouldn't like he should try go for a takedown when Holloway's hurt and then see what he can do, whether that ground and pound or like Holloway leaves a limb. Holloway's been submitted before. I know that was a long time ago, but
Yeah, yeah. Who
you
was it? Was it Dustin?
McGregor
Topuria.
submitted him.
No, McGregor just dominated him for
Uh,
3 rounds, but just ragdolled him. But
Dustin went.
I think Dustin submitted him on the early
So
fights.
so yeah, no, I don't know why, but a Topuria knockout or Holloway, even though it sounds ludicrous, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I was the first, like when Volkanovski was fighting Topuria, I was like, nah, it's too early for Topuria to be talking like this. Like, he's not gonna knock out Volk. Like, this is Volk, 145 Volk. He's put the knockout with Makachev behind him, and he just circled and he put him against the cage and he just knocked him into next week. And I just have a
yeah,
feeling that also it's like, you know, when people he's 27, yeah, and people are on the rise in well, he's not even on the, he's at the pinnacle already, but he's at 27. But it's his fight IQ that's so high for someone who's not even reached 30 yet. Do you know what I'm trying to
yeah.
say? It's
No,
scary. He knows what to
yeah,
do.
no. His age scares me as well. He's so young. He's so young, and he's already in his peak, and he can talk as well. Like he gets on the mic, he's fun to watch now. His press conferences are exciting. He's doing the right things. He's calling out the champions. He wants to go up in weight. You know, Dana White must be loving him. Shades of Prime McGregor, you know, fighting anyone, say calling out champions in other weight classes, going in there saying going in there, you know, saying you're gonna do something and then doing it. You know, it's definitely shades of Prime McGregor,
Mm.
100%.
And then, but yeah, what's your prediction for it though? What would you say? You
I
still stick?
reckon, I reckon it's a Holloway decision win.
Mm.
Holloway decision win. I just
So there's
think
no finish.
no. I don't see a finish. I don't see. If anyone's gonna finish anybody, it's Topuria. Will finish Holloway.
You don't think there's
I don't see Max because Topuria is not Gaethje. Where Gaethje, when he gets in the fire, he's a bit of a I don't want to say meathead, but do you know what I mean? He throws away skill. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? He throws away his skill and just exactly like if
Do
that
you
guy
think?
put
Do you think it would be a big dent on Topuria
if
if
he
he does
loses.
get beat, considering how much he speaks and how much he
If
talks?
he loses, in terms of MMA
Depends.
wise, it won't be a dent because Holloway, we know how good he is. But in terms of like the way he's been talking, it will be a dent because I mean he's saying a
That's
lot of wild stuff.
Yeah,
He's talking like he's invincible. Do you know?
yeah. Well, he's never lost, and he's talking like someone he's never lost. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
it'll be a then like because of the way he's talking, he's gonna have a lot of people hate watch him. A lot of people are gonna watch that fight just to see him lose. But in terms of like skill level, MMA, there's no shame in losing to Holloway.
mm.
He's one of the best.
Oh, I don't know, man. I feel like Topuria he might repeat the Volk thing and get a second round knockout or TKO, something like that.
No, there
Uh,
is a question mark with that Volk as well. I'm not hating, but Volk was coming off a knockout loss. Do
he
you know what I
could
mean?
have had. It,
And I know, and I know it's a weak argument. But I'm just throwing it out there, you know. But listen,
so
Topuria is the guy. Topuria is really good.
the argument isn't he could have had the argument isn't his chin's gone,
No, it's
yeah,
not.
because
Just has he recovered?
he could have never been knocked out in his life. That
Yeah,
punch would have knocked him out.
yeah.
It was more
The recovery process.
and also more would Prime Volk, confident Volk, not the one that's been knocked out, be against the cage against someone like Taporia? I don't know. That's the real
I
question
don't
because
know.
you cannot be against the fence against Taporia when he's unloaded.
Yeah, no,
That's a death
you
wish.
can't
It's
let him
just a
back
death
up. Yeah.
wish. So uh, and Max Holloway moves. He moves all the time. He's hard to pin down.
And then you can either say Holloway and his coaches have watched that Volk fight. They can learn from Volk's mistakes and understand. Listen, you cannot back up and let this Topuria guy cut the cage and get your back on the fence because it's curtains. And he throws combos as well. He'll rip to your body, come over the top.
Just one punch.
Yeah, he can knock you out with the fourth punch on the combo. So that's what he did with Volk.
Yeah, he missed.
Yeah,
Boom.
it's not like he's missing. He's missing on purpose, just to get
Mm.
you in the position to knock you out. So that guy is he's very skilled.
He's so skilled. So yeah, I'm saying Topuria knockout. You're saying UD win
Yeah, Max
for Holloway.
Holloway.
I mean, I wouldn't be like it's not. This is how I'm feeling right now. But I mean, if Holloway won and put on a masterclass, it would be like fair dues. I'm not 100% in that pick, but I just feel like Topuria is a scary man. And also, what have we said so many times? Once you become champion, even though his
Yeah,
confidence levels is so high,
10% better. Yeah,
he knocked out arguably the best featherweight of all time when he
yeah.
said he would. And he's beat and also when they were doing the interview, he was like, the reason why I'm gonna beat you, it took you how many you had how many minutes with Volkanovski in the octagon? You lost 3 times.
Mm.
And for me, it took me about 8 minutes and I put him to sleep. Ju- MMA maths is, but it's like it's true.
No, he's not lying. He's not
It's not
lying.
lying.
And Holloway was listening to that and getting annoyed and angry because he knows he's not lying. So we might see a case where Holloway comes in, fights emotional, gets into a fight. You don't want to get into a fight in the pocket with
He'll get
Topuria.
he
He'll get knocked out. So what you
he'll
need to do to Topuria is just fight, chip away, try and
keep
keep at
getting
the range.
keep getting him
Yeah.
emotional.
An emotional Holloway, we might see him fight differently because Holloway is a guy who can stick to the game plan. That's been his
Mm,
for most of his career. You know, he's a skillful fighter. He likes to chip away. But if he just stands in there and just throws hell and leather just out of ego, then that's not going to be good for him.
no, it's not to be honest. Going back to the Hamzat Whitaker, what are you saying? Finish?
No, I don't see a finish to be honest. I think it's very hard. I mean, Hamza's style. Holloway, whenever we've seen Whitaker finish, is usually on the feet. I don't really think Hamza has the hands to finish Whitaker, but I just think he'll win more rounds with his wrestling. So I think it'll be a comfortable, not comfortable, but a clear decision win. So unanimous.
I'm going the total opposite. I feel like Hamzat will come out, all guns blazing. He might win the first, maybe the second, but I honestly believe Whitaker will impose his jab and he'll land some clean strikes. And don't be surprised if a high kick goes and Hamzat
Mm,
doesn't see it.
mm.
Don't know if it knocks him out, but I feel like Hamzat will get wobbled this fight. I will not be surprised if Hamzat gets
Yeah,
wobbled this
no,
fight.
definitely his toughest fight ever. Definitely make or break against the best opponent, a former champion, and this is it. It's time for Hamza to perform on a bigger stage, to learn from his mistakes. He's undefeated, but we've seen him fight guys like Burns, and he hasn't looked as good. But this
Mm,
is a different level. Whitaker, different level. Who's still
different.
looking good? Who's still hungry to win the belt himself? So he's not fighting a guy on the kind of the tail end. He's fighting a guy who wants exactly what he wants to become a champion once more.
And
So
Whitaker's super confident. He just killed
Whitaker's
that
that guy. He's that
in his
guy. He's been there, done that. He's been
yeah
there, done that, mate. So
experience as well. His experience, 5 round fights, being on the door for championship. Whitaker's been there. Whitaker's lived these moments, so you don't know whether that's gonna play. You
bro, he had a war with
huh?
like Yoel Romero. Do you remember that Yoel Romero war? It just shows how tough Whitaker is. This guy here, it's
Yeah,
hard to
no.
get out of there.
But it depends. He could have a sloppy night against, like he had against DDP, and he has to be on as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He has to be on. Lerone Murphy against Dan Ige. I love this fight.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Ige, but I just think
He's
Laron's
flying.
a bit. Yeah, I think that's Laron. Laron should win. Ige's tough, but company man, fight anyone anywhere. But if Laron has any aspirations, he should be getting past Dan Ige, and I
I
think he will.
think I think that's a contender for fight of the night, though. I'll be honest. That's
Yeah,
definitely there's gonna be some bangs flying because Ige, he's one right hand away from sleeping you. And then Lerone against Barbosa was slick, man. He was slick. And yeah, I'd lean towards Murphy, unanimous decision, but I feel like it's going to be a barn burner. There's going to be some
mm.
serious in that. Another fight that's got so much. I was going to say hype. It's not hype, but a lot of weight to it, considering what result it goes. Is obviously the Ankalaev Rakic.
That's it,
Ankalaev
man.
needs to get the finish, really.
The way people are talking, they're saying Rakic looks good. Do they not know who Ankalaev is? I saw a little clip of Rakic on pads. It looks alright, but come on, he's fighting. He's not fighting. This is arguably Rakic's toughest fight. People
Yeah.
forget Ankalaev is that guy. His only loss is a fight that he was dominating in against Paul Craig, where he got caught at the end in a submission. I think it was a triangle to an armbar. Other than that, his UFC career has been flawless. This guy right here is championship level. I think he blitzes through Rakic. I think it's a mismatch. I think it's a
No,
mismatch.
no, because
I think it's a mismatch because Rakic is just tough, but where does he excel where Ankalaev can't handle him? He's not going to out-grapple Ankalaev.
I
On the
think in the
feet, no, kicks-wise, maybe, but when it comes to the boxing, no way. No
I
way.
think when he fought Yuri Prohashka in that first round, he was murdering him.
Yuri defensively has always been mid.
I hear that.
Yuri's defense is mid as hell. Like he's like he fights like Tony Ferguson, but not as good. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But Ankalaev will slip those punches and counter you. You can't fight like that.
You're saying Ankalaev's UFC, other than that blip, it's been smooth sailing. But when you look at when the belt
Blahovic,
when the belt was on the line for him
yeah,
against Jan
bro.
Blachowicz,
You could argue he won that fight though. It was
he
just
won.
it
That
was a
was
tough
very
fight. Yeah, and to be fair, he showed a weakness in his game, which I've always said, which is the leg kicks. And Blahovic kicked the hell out of his shins, and it was hurt multiple times. He needs to sort that out before fighting Rakic, and also if he was to fight Pereira, he definitely needs to sort that out.
yeah,
Pereira's ones are not even telegraphed. You won't see those ones coming. Blahovic was loading up. You could see from you could see it clearly, but he does have weaknesses. But I just think Ankalaev is second best light heavyweight in the UFC right now after Pereira. I really believe that.
yeah. I feel like Ankalaev wins, but I don't know if he gets the finish. I can see a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean,
it's
it's
a
a
decision.
three-rounder, ain't it? Well, I mean, we know with the UFC are like 3 rounds. Yeah, no. I say Ankalaev knocks him out.
If he does that, it Garra's his
Yeah.
Shara Bullet as well is fighting on this card.
Yeah, Shara Bullet. I mean, that guy, to be fair, he's been improving. He come into the UFC with awful takedown defense, but his takedown defense is looking a lot better. He's
Yeah.
obviously a good striker. with those kicks. You know, yeah, listen, I reckon he wins. I think it's another fight for him where he can showcase his ability and keep climbing up the ranks. Another
No,
fighter from Dagestan competing for the belt in a few years.
as
Yeah,
well.
his style's weird for where he's from. You'd
Yeah,
expect him to take you down, double leg, single leg.
man's just throwing mad kicks.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. He's talented.
Jeff Neal RDA as well is on the prelims.
Yeah,
I like Jeff Neal.
yeah, I've got Jeff Mills. So I think RDA, he's way past it, but he could rob out the years. Possibly, we've seen RDA in fights where he's more experienced and he just takes you down. You could just
Mm,
take Jeff Neal down and submit him. You never know. So
yeah.
RDA always is dangerous. Just he's not the same guy, of course, but
Nah.
it's hard to.
There's a lot of other. I mean, this card is fun from the beginning. I can't lie. Another
Assist.
fight. Do you remember Magomedov, the guy who fought Strickland at the Apex,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Strickland?
He's on the card as well.
He's on the card and he's fighting Bruno Ferreira. Now, Bruno
Mm.
Ferreira, oh my gosh, I don't know if you remember him, but he's the one he's knocked out Phil Hawes, he's knocked out Robocop. Since being in the UFC, he's moved mad. Now that is gonna be because
Was that the
Magomed.
first fight? Is that the first fight on the card?
No, it's somewhere in the prelims. It's just yes, no, it's somewhere in the prelims. It's not the fight. If that was the first fight on the card, oh my gosh,
Crazy.
like,
Fun.
Farid Basharat as well. There's a lot of Said Nurmagomedov against
Yeah,
Daniel Santos. So I mean, they've stacked meter wise, and it was supposed to be Cyril Gane Volkov.
yeah.
So
Which
they were ready to make this the card of the year, really. That's what I'm trying to say. So
mm,
stack meter wise, we're talking 9 out of 10. Like this is, and it's also a good time for us UK viewers as well because it's in
perfect.
it's not in America as
Yeah,
well. So
we can have an earlier night. We don't have to stay awake
it's
crazy
trying to
times.
say. But yeah, so I'm excited for that as well. A couple things we can talk about is Dustin Poirier is confirmed that he's definitely gonna fight, if not once, twice.
Mhm.
Which is
Interesting to see who he fights.
mm,
Because at 155, I don't really know. That 155 at one point was the best division in UFC, but now you could say it's not because you look at the champion. If Makachev now, who we all know is going to fight Sarukian, who else
yeah.
is there that you could say really deserves a title shot? And they've all fought each other. So if Dustin's saying he's going to fight, who's he going to fight? He's fought Gaethje. Do you do the trilogy of Gaethje?
You could
I
do.
don't know.
He said what he would want is if he fights twice, he would want the second fight to be Gaethje in Louisiana
To end
because
his
he
career.
fought in his backyard. They fought
Mm.
neutral place, and so I can see that. But if there's a fight beforehand, I mean, the McGregor fight, if he's ever coming back, but it's to the point where you can't.
McGregor's gone, bro. No, I'm being dead serious as well. McGregor's gone, bro.
Yeah,
He's honestly, he's gone. He's gone, bro. It's sad as well, but he's gone. He's talking
you
about
can't.
Dan Hooker. He's gonna fight Dan Hooker. The
Huh?
guy's lost it. The guy's talking about he's gonna fight Dan Hooker.
What do you
Which is a
think?
good,
Dan Hooker will cook him?
it's a good fight. It's a good fight, but I thought you were fighting Chandler. What's going on? What happened with the Chandler fight? Now it's Dan Hooker.
Would you be Chandler's booked his fight against Oliveira?
Yeah, but that's just because Chandler wants to get in there and doesn't want to. He's pushing 40, but he doesn't want to stay out the cage for 3 years. You know what I mean?
But I mean, Oliveira fight is huge as well. If it
No, no,
wasn't McGregor, you're talking Charles rematch. The first fight was for the belt. Oliveira's a huge star still. Do
no,
you know
no,
what I'm trying to
100%. But he just wants to fight. He doesn't want to just stay on the sidelines, and probably some money wise thing as well. You're not making any money when you're sitting on the sidelines. So I mean, he's fighting, and think about it. Who will he make more money fighting, Oliveira or any other contender at lightweight? Oliveira.
Yeah, no,
So
you're right. And
that's where he
then
wants to make his money as
especially with
well.
the MSG fight, MSG card. But
Exactly.
Chandler's saying that's a number one contender fight.
Um, if Oliveira wins, you could say it is, but if Chandler wins, he's not going to get a title shot. No
No,
way. Oliveira wins possibly, but not Chandler. That's what I mean. Like the lightweight division is so. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at other weight classes, like you look at bantamweight, you look at middleweight, even welterweight. There's so many guys there. Like you can do the with lightweight, you're pretty limited. It's just been the same faces
yeah.
at the top of the division.
Nah, if all of it, I feel like it's all about winning convincingly. Just like when he beat Dariush and he knocked him out in the first round, then it was like, now we have to see him against Islam again. Obviously, he lost against Arman. It was a close fight. He nearly choked him out. He didn't lose too much stock in that fight.
Mm,
That those things can happen. And maybe if it was a 5 round, he would
yeah,
have got the nod. I'm trying to say. So if he knocks out Chandler like convincingly, like or submits him, then he could come out on the mic and be like, "Listen, I was scheduled to fight Islam. I know I lost a close decision to Arman, but Islam needs to see me again." And because Charles still got that juice, I'm trying to say he's still got that juice, and people still want
yeah.
to see him
You
fight.
could say they have like unfinished business, him and Makachev. But then Makachev might turn around after beating Sarukin and say, "Listen, I've beaten most of these guys. There's nothing here for me. I want to go up in weight." But then Bilal is his boy. He's fighting Shavkat as well, who I think I'm
Well,
looking.
let's talk about that fight now that it's been booked as well.
Yeah,
So it's
to
official,
be honest,
locked in.
Dana's on a run. You know the way he's been announcing all these fights, but that Bilal Shavkat fight, you've got to put a lot of respect on Bilal's name. He could have easily just stalled. He's making a quick turnaround after having a tough fight against Edwards.
Mm.
Quick turnaround against the toughest matchup in the UFC right now, against the best contender in the UFC right now, my boy Shavkat.
Right. Yeah,
The best. Who else is a better contender than Shavkat? It's him and Aspinall, but I give Shavkat the edge because of
he's
his.
already a champion. Can't call him
Sorry,
better.
Aspinall's a champion, but in terms of like,
Lopez?
yeah, I'm. Well, no, you've got to put Shavkat above Lotto. Look at Shavkat's record, bro,
No, that's true.
and look at his resume. What is it? 100% finish rate, bro. The guy is a freak. This
Mm.
is a tough matchup for Bilal. But the thing is, Bilal, another fight where you can't doubt him in it. You can't look into the fight and say
What's the
Shavkat
other
wins.
fight on that card? Is Pantoja
Yeah, Pantoja again.
against the champion from Rising,
Yeah, and
uh,
they also announced. I think
Japanese.
that's a good fight.
Japanese.
But they're saying if
There's
Pantoja wins that fight, he's the best flyweight of all time. What do you think of that?
yeah.
Because they're saying
Who?
his resume is better than Mighty Masters, even though Mighty Masters has a ridiculous amount of defenses.
Yeah, but Pantoja's fought everyone. Who has he
Yeah,
not fought?
that's what I'm saying. You could, I mean, people were taking the mick, but they were saying how he put Brandon Moreno into like garden leave. Brandon Moreno's gone, even though Brandon Moreno's gone for like mental
Well,
health issues.
he's fight. What is it next week? No, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but you know how he took a break for a while. That was
Mm.
because of, you know what I mean?
Pantoja's not a joke. Like whether you like his style of fighting or whatnot,
He's so just gonna,
he's a hard
so
matchup. He's a drowner. He'll drown you. So yeah, and then
they
quickly
did Nick
to
Diaz. They announced Nick Diaz again and Luke as well on that card.
Mhm.
So Nick Diaz makes his return
That
against
was meant
Luke.
for Saudi. That was meant for Saudi, wasn't it?
Yeah, against Luke, who's confirmed to have brain damage, which is crazy. So I don't know how commission is gonna allow that fight. It's just mental.
It's
Um,
wild.
yeah.
But I wanted to ask you as well because they announced UFC 312, I believe, to be in Sydney. Yeah, and Volk was doing the unveiling for that, and he said, "Well, listen, the UFC's promised me pretty much a title shot, so it'll be either Ilya or Topuria." First of all, why would they go to Australia as the champs? Do you know what I'm trying to
Mm.
say? So, but he did say for an interim belt, the Lopez fight interests me.
Yeah, but that's nonsense. How can you call for interim belt when the champion's active? Are you anticipating that Taporia is not going to be active? Do you know what I mean? What kind of weird?
Yeah, but maybe it defines the number one contender.
No, but you do interim belt when, like, for example, Jones has been out injured with a shoulder injury. He hasn't fought in how
I
long?
know, but
Then
there's
you do
been
an interim belt. You don't do an
no,
interim belt when the champion's active. If
but there's been
Taporia goes to if Taporia goes to lightweight, no problem. Do the interim belt.
I
But
think
Taporia's
yeah, but I think there's been instances where they do the interim belt, even though do you know what I'm trying to say, like Cyril Gahn became interim world
yeah, but
interim champion
yeah, but wasn't
when
that because yeah,
Ngannou was still there.
yeah, but was that not because of Ngannou being out with an injury?
It was like 6 months.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like sometimes the UFC will do that. They'll do an interim belt if you're taking long with your injuries.
It does make the fight bigger, especially if
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm saying if they make that fight, Volk and Lopez for gold in Australia, and Lopez wins, and he's got interim belt going against Topuria, bro, bro, that fight is humongous. Do you know what I'm
yeah.
trying to say?
No, I get that, but historically, it's always been because the champion has been out or the champion's gone up in weight. I think if they do go ahead with that interim belt for Volk, then that almost guarantees Ilya's next fight after Holloway, if he wins, will be against Makhachev. If they're already thinking about doing an interim belt, Volk's putting it out there, the UFC, let's say the UFC agree to it, that
Mhm.
will give Topuria leeway to go up to lightweight and fight Makhachev because there'll be a belt on the line when Volk fights. So
Would
I don't mind that.
do you feel like if there's no belt on the line, do you feel like Volk should still try to fight Lopez? Lopez said he would go to Australia.
In my opinion, he should, but apparently he's been promised.
Why should he?
He's coming off a knockout loss against Topuria, where it wasn't even close. Okay, it started well, but it was a defining win. You know where he got flattened. He's coming off back-to-back losses. It's a case where he needs a win under his belt. Lopez is not an easy guy to fight to get a win on your belt. Lopez wants the belt as well. But I just think it's not a good thing if you're coming off two losses to fight for the belt again. Um, it's not good for Volk's confidence as well. He needs to go in there with a bit more confidence. But then he might lose to Lopez as well. So
So who would you favor if the fight was tomorrow? Who would you favor?
Lopez and Volk.
Yeah.
If the fight was tomorrow, I'd go Lopez. But if the
Okay.
fight's
If the fight was in 3 months,
3 months, I mean, it's hard to bet against Volk, man. It's hard, man. It's hard. If it's tomorrow, then Lopez, because Lopez is on the maddest run. But
yeah, but Lopez is in the he's in the gym, bro.
Lopez is quality. Lopez is quality. Listen, it's a tough fight. It's hard to call. I'm just giving Volk the edge, but Lopez wins, I won't be surprised.
Damn,
And this is
I
Volk
can't.
we're talking about. This is Volk we're talking about. When do we ever go into Volk fights and say if the other guy wins, yeah, I'm not surprised. Do you know what I mean? But
I mean, against Topuria,
I was surprised Taporia won. I didn't go into that fight thinking Taporia would win.
if it weren't for Ortega being a zombie, he would have knocked him out in the first 2 minutes.
Mm,
I'm trying to say, any other featherweight in there probably goes to bed, and he woke him up with the other punch.
mm.
So Lopez is one scary dude, bro. You're talking about, like you don't want to go into a title fight straight away. You don't want to buck into Lopez off 2 losses,
Yeah,
bro.
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean,
But
but then again, do you want to fight Taporia again? Especially if Taporia knocks out Holloway, Taporia will go into that fight insanely confident.
if
So
he knocks out Holloway again,
and then what? Volk has to go in there.
if he knocks out Holloway, he's going lightweight.
That's what I mean. So
If he has a hard
then that interim belt would make sense.
if he has a hard fight and it goes 25 minutes and he gets his hand raised and it's a bit of a, oh, that was a close call. Like Holloway is really good and it's bringing me back down to earth sort of situation. He still wins, but it's kind of like, okay, cool. Then I can see Volk possibly getting the chance straight away. But if he knocks him out, you can just be like, yo, Islam, enough of this. Beat Armin. I'm right here. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And like, oh my, I can't wait. I can't wait because that fight is just, and
Yeah.
technically, I've told you this, it's the most anticipated scrap for me. It's not even close. And whenever Topuria speaks, he's like, "You're sloppy." He tells Holloway, "You're sloppy," and people and you know what? His argument about because a lot of people were like, "Oh, Gaethje v Holloway was like one of the best fights they've ever seen." I agree with Ilya. It wasn't. It was
Yeah, it was.
fairly one-sided since in the first round when Holloway broke Gaethje's nose with that spinning kick, and then Holloway was up. How can the best fights you've ever seen where like someone's up? What is it? Four rounds to one,
Mhm.
or like
But no, it's the fact that Gaethje was always dangerous in it. He was always in the fight, even though he was losing on the cards. He was always in the fight. He had a little
yeah.
burst. That's probably why. And people know
The
Gaethje's
best
dangerous guy
for
in it.
me, like if I'm talking about the best fights I've ever seen,
Back and forth.
Zhang Wei Li against Joanna John Jacek one
Yeah.
is. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's the best fight I've ever seen off the top of my
Mm.
head. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, nah. It was the best last 10 seconds I've ever seen of a fight.
Yeah.
And you know, he was like, yeah, it's a bar fight. Like it was just like you just threw and you connected, but you're sloppy. You've lost X amount of times. I've lost 0 times. I beat the guy that you couldn't beat in like I don't know how many minutes. Was it 25, 50? Like, bro, do you know what I'm trying to say? Nearly 80 minutes. That's nearly a football game. And you didn't win once and you couldn't finish him, and he finished him in 8 minutes.
Mm.
So when you put those arguments together, I know MMA maths, like we said it doesn't work like that. But at the same time, you can see why should Topuria feel type of way about Holloway?
Mm.
Why should Topuria? And they're saying about that video when they pan the camera to him, and bro, Topuria's not shook. He's not shook. When he's gonna get in the octagon with Holloway, he will not be shook.
He got in there with Volk, who's beaten Holloway 3 times. You know, you can't. He's not scared of anyone. He's one of the best fighters in the world. But I just think, I don't know. You know, so listen to what you have to say as well. Like the Poirier, he might win, man. He might win, but I don't know, man. It's a tough one. But I'm going Holloway decision. But if the Poirier wins, you know, I will not be shocked at all.
Does he crack the top 3 pound for pound?
If he beats
If he wins,
Holloway, I mean, second title defense. Who would be? Who's? I mean, it's hard to say top 3, but top to 100%. Is he not top 10 already?
no, he's top 10. I think he's about 6 right now.
Yeah, yeah. And he can maybe got one place, maybe 2. But I just
But
think
yeah,
I just think the top 3 are locked in. It's
really,
hard to crack into that top 3. Jones, Makachev, Pereira, in any order. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean,
It's
if
hard
he
to crack
knocks
into those.
if he knocks him out, that's bonus points, bro. Can't
If he
lie.
knocks out Holloway, you could say he goes 4, maybe.
But he goes full Garrow.
Yeah.
It's whether a John Jones has to slip out, and Dana just got him mad.
Yeah, but then Jones is fighting November, so it's a perfect time, innit? He's literally back next month.
Bro, it's looking like a
We're gonna have to do Jones Stipe prediction soon, man.
yeah. I
Crazy.
mean,
Finally, he's back.
fingers crossed that's actually still happening.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see if he's back in it. We'll see.
yeah. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. Make sure to look out for the clips on the socials. We will be in studio in the next couple weeks, 100%. So we're both looking forward to that. And yeah, peace out.